let's fucking go. You say you hit that like button, huh? Appreciate it.
You know what uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Refer to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Little hands.
What do you say we just hop right into it, ladies and gentlemen? How are we doing today? Thank you for joining me. It is Sunday, August 31st, 2025, and you have officially made it through another week. So I appreciate you for taking the time out, for being here. I know the time is the most important thing that you have. So thank you so much for donating some of that to me. Thank you to the mods for being here, for keeping that chat a safe place. We are excited today to be joined by and just awaiting the arrival of Chris Kluwe, who is a former NFL punter turned political activist, has been outspoken throughout his career, is now running for an assembly seat in California's 72nd district here. So we're just awaiting his arrival. I'll let everybody filter in. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in, share the stream. There's several different ways you can contribute. Let's get that stuff out of the way so we don't have to deal with that. It's Venmo up in the corner, which is that one. One of these years I'll get it right. You can take a picture. It takes you right to my Venmo. I say $1 or $2 goes a long way in helping this channel. You can become a channel member for under $3 just underneath me here. And you can sign up for patreon.com at patreon.com/Boston Brian for as little as $5 a month to help contribute, this independent media source that you guys love to come back to. I appreciate it. Let's get into thanking some people in the chat. How's everybody doing? What's up, Vicky? What's up, Bob? How are you? What's up, Lady J? How's everybody doing? What's up, Leah? Keith? Rocks, thank you so much for your services. What up, Mike? What's up, Pam? What's up, Etch? Andrea? Cecilia, how are you? How's everybody doing? I appreciate you. So, unfortunately, it looks like Donald Trump did manage to crawl out from whatever rock he was hiding under for the last few days. Maybe he's hiding that bruise on his hand. I don't know. I haven't seen any up-close shots of his hand lately, but who knows? There was some good speculation going on as to what's going on with his health. I know a lot of people wondering where the hell the guy was. He hadn't been making any appearances. We'll be talking about that. What else are we going to be talking about? In the second half, I know a lot of people have been messaging and asking and tweeting and talking about it. So I'm going to be giving kind of my 2 cents on the whole. Let me put this. I'll put this up on the screen so you guys can see this. Share screen. Excuse me. I'll put this on the stage for you guys. So this whole debacle, right or wrong, whatever you may think about it, I'm going to give my 2 cents on it. I know a lot of people have been talking about. A lot of people have been wondering who else is on the list and who's getting paid, and I guess I'll kind of reveal if I'm on the list, whether or not you guys think I might be on this list or not. But first off, let's get into thanking some people who right off the bat, before the show even started, were contributing. Let's get up here. So I got Liz, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Sheldon, thank you so much for the gifted membership. And Nordez, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. And there was one before the show even started, if I'm not mistaken. For some reason, it's not showing up right now, but we'll make sure to get you in there. How are you? What's going on? Nice to see you. What's up, BJ? What up, Dame? What's up, Steve? Hello, Lisa. What's up, Leron? How are you? Lonzetti, yeah, Brian's on the list. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would just not look too great after everything that I've been advocating for, talking about, independent media, um, you know, talking about how this is really and truly independent media. So I don't know if that would look too good. That's just, I guess, a little hint as to whether or not I'm on the list. But yeah, I'll be just kind of giving my 2 cents on that whole story there. We'll be talking about Gavin Newsom really going after it lately. This time he was holding up. We might even talk about this with Chris when he joins us. Holding up the murder rates for places like, I don't know, Mike Johnson's home state, as compared to, say, California, where Republicans are now threatening to continue sending in National Guard, military troops into these cities when we don't want them there. The cities do not want them there, really. And then we obviously have to, I don't know if you guys might be sick of it at this point, but we only have a little more to go on this one too. But this asshole, we only have a little more to go on this asshole. But we'll be taking a look at what else is going on in the news. There was an Israeli airstrike that wipes out Yemen's Houthi group. Houthis government with only 4 left alive, this says. FBI warns of 3-phase scam that is draining bank accounts. Powerball jackpot soars to $1.1 billion on Labor Day after no winner in Saturday's drawing. I don't know how that made it in there. Trump cancels $4.9 billion in foreign aid, pushes D.C. death penalty, and touts Kim Jong-un's ties. This is, it's good. It's good. Things are going well. Plus the new ultimatum that Donald Trump has set for Vladimir Putin and Zelensky, which is just outrageous as well. But let me see. I'm just going to check my phone and make sure everything is all right as far as with the link and with Chris and stuff. Make sure there's no email saying that the link didn't work or anything like that. But I appreciate you guys. Make sure as you filter in, just hit that like button for me. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, I would very much appreciate you to do that. Let me see a little refresh on the email. So the email went out. Let me check the blue sky. Nothing on blue sky. All right. Well, we'll have to see if we can dig into something, and then when he pops in, we'll see if we can get him right in there. All right. Well, let's check out the old. Why don't we take a look at this clip here? Oh, thank you, Cheyenne. I appreciate that. Member for 4 months. Hello from, what is that, Southwest Michigan on the Northwest Indiana state line. I appreciate it. Or is that? Yeah. I was getting all confused there. You get my geography all mixed up. All right, let me see if I can put this on the stage for you guys. I don't know why I keep calling it a stage. Kind of ridiculous to keep doing that. But I just wanted to show this little moment here. It's just the video is pretty short in itself, but I'm just going to show this little clip of Gavin Newsom being questioned about his recent efforts and what he was saying, going after the Republicans for, again, having the states with the highest murder rates, the most dangerous cities. So let's take a look at what Gavin Newsom had to say here.
For the outcome of that could have profound implications in terms of his authority to militarize American cities. Again, certainly here in California, impacts, though, will be discussed and debated if he moves in our direction across the United States. But I should note, just on that, if he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district. Just look at the murder rate that's nearly 4 times higher than Californians. In Louisiana, this Speaker Johnson, 4x higher.
4 times higher. You know what I mean? That's not like a little bit, that's not like a fraction of a percentage. And this is what we should be doing to combat what Donald Trump is, again, doing with the National Guard, with our military, with, taking over metropolitan police forces, with, arming the National Guard, sending them out in armored personnel carriers to, intimidate and act violence on the citizens of the city. But this is the hypocrisy of it all. This is the blatant and utter hypocrisy of it all, is that Republicans refuse to acknowledge that it's their states, that it's their unsafe cities that require said fucking objectives that if anybody's going to be sent into if the National Guard and the military and armed fucking personnel and police force is going to be taken over, it should be in the places with the highest murder rates, the most dangerous places, right? Which would again, if you take a look at the list here, let's just take a look at the list. I'll just type in the most dangerous places in the U.S. right, and we'll see what we come up. We'll see what comes up. Let's say in the U.S. Did you guys know that U and S spells us? All right, so this is from U.S. News Real Estate. We'll just throw this on there. First thing that I saw, right? First thing that I saw, most dangerous places in the U.S. in 2025, 2026. Okay. We got Memphis, Tennessee, the #1 most dangerous place. All right. So right off the bat, Oakland, California, St. Louis, Missouri, Baltimore, Maryland, Detroit, Michigan, Alexandria, Louisiana, Cleveland, Ohio, New Orleans, Monroe, Pueblo, Anniston. So Alabama, Arkansas, South Carolina, Washington, Alabama, New Jersey, Missouri, New Mexico, Missouri, Kentucky, Ohio. It's funny. I'm not seeing, L.A. I mean, we see Oakland, right? But again, what is Donald Trump? Has he been saying anything about Oakland? Or is he more worried about, L.A. because it stands out more? Or Chicago? Where's, Chicago? Anywhere? No? Okay. All right. Baltimore, St. Louis, So it's not hard to see that the areas that Donald Trump is targeting, again, aren't the ones that are in the most desperate need. Which is kind of, if you think about how much they're spending, right? Think about how much, fucking chaos it's causing. Think of how many lives are being disrupted and ruined because of these fucking policies, because of where he's choosing to send the National Guard into, because of where he's choosing to, again, fucking take over the Metropolitan Police Force and hand over, control over to Pam Bondi or Pete Hegseth or whoever the fuck, any one of these degenerate fools. Oh, thank you, Patrick. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And thank you, Angela, as well. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Patrick. Who else? Sorry if I missed anybody. There was one other person. Oh, Angela also got a milestone. Happy Sunday, Briantologist. Right back at you, Angela. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're just kind of, I'm waiting the arrival of our guest, Chris. I don't know. I'm hoping everything went okay as far as the link I sent. I don't know why I wouldn't. Let me check one more time just to make sure everything's okay on my end. I don't want to be the asshole here. Not that anybody would be. I'm just saying I don't want to make sure that I'm not screwing up by by not sending a link to something. No, it looks like everything's all right. I don't have anything saying that it didn't work. All right, sorry. Yeah, so no, I'm sure no, the link should be all right. And if the link didn't work, Mel, I'm sure that he would message me on, like I said, I emailed it and I sent it on Blue Sky, and I don't have anything saying, hey, I tried that link and it didn't work or anything like that. So I'll give him some time. No worries. Oh, maybe the time. But he's on the West Coast too, right? Obviously. Thank you so much. Sorry, we're just having a little behind the scenes discussion here with the with Mel, with my producer, to see what we can do or what the issue is here. I reached out. I'll reach out again. Just gonna say, let me know if there's any issues with the link or anything. The time change? I mean, it still confuses me. But that would be 3 hours. No worries. I'm sure I'm sure we could figure out something to cover. Should we do the stuff we were going to do in the second half? I don't want to get too far. I just don't want to get too deep into covering something and then have to kind of cut it out and stop. That's all. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see. Well, we could take a look at this Mediaite article that this video that I pulled up here, which was talking about an interview that Adam Friedland had with a politician here, and he really fucking, kind of laid it on the line with Richie Torres there. Let me see if I can type that in. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but that goes hand in hand with our coverage of, what's been going on in Gaza, and also, kind of breaks up the, it breaks up the Benjamin Netanyahu sit down with a pretty big douchebag there. So let me see if I can just get the straight coverage here. I don't want to get the whole sit down. Maybe somebody breaking it down for us. Who could we get that could break it down for us? Let's see here. Yeah, there's a hill. Let's take a look at this one. Or should we take? No, that's too long. That's 54 minutes. I don't have time for that. How about the Rational National? You guys like the Rational National? All right, let's just take a look because he covers just a little bit of this. So let me put this on the screen for you guys. I appreciate it. And sorry about the confusion. Again, I think either maybe there's some time confusion or, something happened, but we'll keep you updated if we hear anything in the background from Chris, or again, if he pops in, we'll just toss him right into the show. So sorry about the confusion on that one, but I'm sure there's a good reason for it. But let me see if I can pop this onto the stage here. Make this nice and big. This was a crazy interaction from somebody called Adam Friedland and again, he's talking to Richie Torres here, and he kind of pours his heart out for the man. And again, it's the reaction from Richie Torres that I think is garnering the most attention from this interview. So if I could just play just a little bit of this, and again, this is the Rational National. Everybody's favorite Canadian, I think, on the lefty, on the progressive side of the atmosphere here on YouTube. But let's just take a look at what he had to say about this and a couple of the clips from this incident. And I appreciate you guys for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.
I had the experience of.
It just sounds like you're justifying anti-Semitism, which making me feel.
Are you crazy right now?
And again, that's from Richie Torres speaking to a Jewish man, saying that the Jewish man is trying to justify anti-Semitism, right? As opposed to the Jewish man being at odds, having this like huge conflict going inside himself. On one hand, being a Jewish man, on the other hand, seeing what's going on and what Israel is now doing to human beings and doing to an entire population. Right. So he's literally going through it in real time right in front of Richie Torres. And Richie Torres has absolutely no compassion, absolutely no empathy whatsoever, and literally tries to belittle this kid. And again, I'm not a fan of, I'm not familiar with Adam Friedland, really. So again, I'm not kind of this isn't anything to Adam's politics or anything he said in the past. I can't say anything to that. I'm just going by this one clip and this one clip alone. So this is again what David Dole has to say. Yeah, thank you so much, Grumpy Cats. This is what David has to say about it again, aka the Rational National. Let's go.
This is one of the most revealing interviews I have seen with a politician this year, and it was conducted by a comedian, Adam Friedland, who hosts the Adam Friedland Show, a former host of the Come Town podcast. Somebody who hosted a show called the Come Town podcast did a better job at interviewing a politician than the vast majority of the press. And the biggest reason for that is because Adam Friedland showcases humanity, empathy, and actual care for human rights. While Richie Torres, you're going to witness here just how insane the reaction is. So I got a couple of clips from this interview. I will link to the full thing below the video. The real tension begins around the 40-minute mark, but I think it's worth watching the whole thing to get an understanding of the beginning of the discussion and where Richie Torres comes from, because he's somebody who has faced adversity growing up, yet clearly has been unable to develop the ability to empathize. So it's worth noting before I get to the first clip here that this is a story that came out this week from Sludge. Torres invested in weapons.
And again, this is again a little backstory into that interview there, which again I get gives you a good insight as to maybe why somebody's answering. Remember how we talk about like, you know, AIPAC's intrusion into our politics, and you know sometimes when you see a politician say something that makes no sense, well, you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense to what I've heard them say in the past. Or if you don't hear them say, you know, if you hear them stay silent on something that you feel like they should be speaking up on, and you're like, that doesn't make sense. And then you look in the background at who's funding them and who's donating to them. And then you're like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense now as to why they might either, you know, be highlighting that situation or why they might be trying to, you know, stay away from that situation right there. So he's just trying to give you a little highlight, a little backstory into this.
As he backed billions in arms for Israel. Reminder, this is a Democratic congressman in New York that is incredibly conservative. So, you know, just as an aside here, this seems ripe for a primary challenge, but Dropsite has the summary here. And worth noting, Sludge and Dropsite both do fantastic reporting, fantastic journalism. Check out both and make sure you follow them both. They write here, while urging Biden to rush bombs for Israel's genocide and voting for a $17 billion arms package to the apartheid state, Richie Torres also secretly bought stock in weapons giants that were supporting Israel. And the trades were also filed nearly...
And again, this is just some of the shit that you see happening behind the scenes with even some of your favorite politicians, right? With even some of the politicians that you're like, oh, I like that guy or I like that woman, right? And you're like, wow, you know, you look at who they're investing in, and, you know, everybody loves to use Nancy Pelosi and bash on Nancy Pelosi because she's probably the most, you know, public and most notable figure who has gained notoriety because of her, well, you know, substantial gain in wealth since the time that she's been in Congress there. But, you know, when you go and you look behind the scenes at, you know, some of the stocks that these politicians have, again, who they're being funded by, the PACs that they're related to, it gives you a lot of detail. It gives you a lot of insight into maybe the decisions that they made or the votes that they undertook or something like that. You know what I mean?
A year late. All the while, Torres loudly opposed a ceasefire, joined Republicans to override Biden's brief pause on 2,000-pound bombs, and voted to sanction the ICC after it issued arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. Just absolutely insane moves.
Remember all that when people were literally trying to sign on and sanction the ICC because the ICC was trying to do their job and go after war criminals, you know, just in serving warrants and in issuing warrants for people that have committed crimes. And we actually had U.S. politicians trying to, you know, go after the ICC, as we still do.
And not surprising, he has received quite a bit of money from AIPAC to the tune of over $1.5 million. Let me get to the first clip.
And again, remember on the last, my apologies. Remember, this is the similar thing that we were talking about in the last couple of shows, where if you look behind the scenes, who is the one guy? I forget the one guy's name now. And thank you so much, Slacks. I appreciate that, brother. Slacks, Heroyam Slava to you. Love to you, Mel, Brian, Dunkery, Dog Low. Love to all my fellow Bryantologists. Thank you in advance for the kind greetings. Why did the pictures of Trump over the weekend look toothless? I'm not sure. Maybe he's hiding something there. Maybe bit into his Coke can or something. Who the fuck knows? But remember that guy we were talking about had like $19 million from AIPAC, something crazy like that? Yeah, I think you'd be surprised to see just how much money is being thrown around behind the scenes, which is, again, why I have my opinions on the story we'll be talking about later, or depending on when Chris shows up, we'll be talking about that, you know, dark money supposedly in Democratic politics with the creators, and we'll be talking about my opinions and all of that. But, you know, I think it kind of goes hand in hand with our arguments as to getting money out of politics, specifically dark money out of politics, not knowing where the funding is coming from. You know, with this hush-hush, secretive fucking society bullshit. So let's just continue here.
This is a few minutes into their conversation around Israel and Gaza, and just the response that Torres comes back with here is just insane.
I think hatred of Jewish people has exploded in this country, and I don't think it's...
And remember, he's saying this as a Jew, like he's saying this as a Jewish man himself, and you can see him going through this fucking battle, this emotional battle inside himself where he knows what he's saying is going to get him in trouble with his family and his friends and, possibly his rabbi. And, but it needs to be said. You can tell it's on his chest. It's on his brain. It's weighing heavy on him. Right. And then, this gentleman trying to pour out his heart in front of Richie Torres, and Richie Torres just gives a cold, callous, fucking iron-hearted response here. Check this out.
I think it's because it's of our support of what looks to be an absolute brutality. And I think that
you think that's a justification for anti-Semitism?
Here's the thing:
you
is
think Israeli government policy is a justification for anti-Semitism? My view is there's no justification for anti-Semitism.
I think that
there's zero justification for anti-Semitism.
Okay, you're deflecting again.
I'm not deflecting. That's my position.
What does it look like to have a flag with a Jewish star, and I'm Jewish, and for kids to be starving right now? Why is my government? I don't want to do this fight. Let's not do like a yelling at each other thing. I really just, for me, I had the experience.
And for me, it's not, he's not trying to give a justification for anti-Semitism. I think what he's trying to do is trying to show you why there has been a rise in anti-Semitic rhetoric, in hatred, in anger towards not only Israel, but the Israeli people. Right. I think he's trying to give you not justification for, but the insight as to the mindset, why, the mindset as to why people are getting so upset and so angry. Right. And so outraged as what the Israeli government, the Israeli military is actively and still perpetrating to this day, and continues to say they're going to make it worse and occupy more territory. Right. So I think he's not justifying anything. He's on one hand acknowledging it, and on the other hand trying to explain why that might be today's reality. And on the other hand, let's not forget about the fucking anti-Muslim and anti-fucking and Arab hate. You know what I mean? That's also been proliferating through American society. That hasn't gone away, and that's exploded as well.
It just sounds like you're justifying anti-Semitism, which making me feel like.
Are you crazy right now?
I don't know whether to laugh or cry at the reaction from Richie Torres. Adam Friedland has lived in Israel. He is Jewish. The idea that he is justifying anti-Semitism by pointing out the reality of what is happening is insane. Discussing the results of an action is not a justification for the action. It's simply a discussion of cause and effect. I think we know it's the Israeli government, not Jewish people, that are the ones committing these actions. But when the average person is being told that any criticism of the Israeli government is inherently somehow anti-Semitic, do you think that helps or hurts the fight against anti-Semitism? So this whole, like the complete disconnect that Richie Torres displays from reality. Look, I know we shouldn't be surprised considering if you're.
And I think he's pretty careful as to not play a ton of clips. I think he does play one or two more clips from this. So let me see if I can just kind of skip forward and get to the next clip that he plays from this. I'm not sure what it is with copyright or anything like that. I think people are kind of trying to be a little careful here. So let me see if I can just fast forward.
Disagreements with the Israeli government, you should voice your criticism of the Israeli government, but there is no justification for intimidation or harassment against American Jews.
I'm telling you as a Jew right now that we are receiving a lot more hate because of what the people with a flag that has a Jewish star on are doing to other people right now.
That might
be. I'm telling you, hold on. First off, time out. First off, at the Soulcraft, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. From me and Mel and everybody here at Blunt Politics. We wish you the best, and we give our best to you, and we're sending good thoughts and good vibes your way. Hopefully you're with and surrounded by loved ones and people that you care about and can reminisce with. But yeah, we're very sorry to hear about that. That's terrible. Yeah, thank you, chat. Thank you, chat. Very nice of you. Very sorry about that. Man, that got me. All right, sorry, and thank you, Mel.
how painful it is for us to say, and it hurts my stomach to say this. So you're going to say, I disagree, that this is a genocide. And that hurts to say that a Jew could do that. It hurts because we grew up with learning about what hatred is. We grew up learning about this.
All right. So before I get to the last,
I mean, that's a great fucking piece of that interview right there, where, you know, you can literally see it inside him, where he's having to come to terms, having to come to reality with not only the past and what he's been taught and what his ancestors had to go through, but what now is being perpetrated upon an entirely different population of people by the same people that know what it feels like, or at least our ancestors of a people that know what it feels like to be on the opposite end, right? To be on the receiving end of something like this.
clip, which I think really just completely exposes Richard Torres
Oh, Liz, you making fun of me? You making fun of me?
in an insane moment. I want to discuss why Adam Friedland here is so effective in this interview. So I've worked in broadcast news, both locally and nationally. I used to host a radio show.
And no, you know, nothing against David, just for the sake of time here. Let me just see if I can fast forward. I think he does one more clip, if not two more. Let me see if I can just fast forward to this next area here.
Thousands of people. So there's no.
So what does that mean?
That Hamas is a terrorist organization for murdering innocent children and civilians.
Hold on, I think I missed. I got to go back just a touch. My apologies. Right here.
Let me get to the last clip here, which again, this is just.
He does have a. He definitely
Hamas
has a
murdered
radio voice.
Thousands of people. So there's no.
So what does that mean?
That Hamas is a terrorist organization for murdering innocent children and civilians.
How many civilians have been killed in this war?
I mean, he knows he just fucked up right there, right? Like, he knows he just fucked up. If that's his justification, I'll go back even a couple seconds. Listen to what he says, right? Listen to what he says. I'll go back, play it at the beginning. Right here. Ready?
Hamas murdered thousands of people. So there's no.
So what does that mean?
That Hamas is a terrorist organization for murdering innocent children and civilians.
Okay, so if that's your justification, if that's what you're using to mark Hamas as a terrorist organization, right, which was rightfully called out for the atrocities that they committed on 7 October, right? If that's the justification that we're using, and the number that you're using to justify that is the number of civilians killed in that attack, can we not look at the number of civilians killed since that attack by the IDF, by Israel, and also use that as justification to deem them, to label them as a terrorist organization, as a terrorist state? Like, you see how that works? Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You gotta, something's got to give. If you're gonna give these parameters around a certain organization, then those parameters have to be used for that other organization that's engaged in that fucking conflict at 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the rate at which you call the other terrorist organization, right? I mean, is that just not ridiculous? Like, and he knows he screws up because he's, you know, when Adam pushes back on him, he kind of gets that like, shit. You know what I mean? Look in his face here. Check this out.
How many civilians have been killed in this war?
That look right there, like, okay. Fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how you get out of that one. So let's see how Richie tries to get out of this one. Let's see.
The war is a tragedy, but
90% of them have been.
But
90% of them have.
So if the war is a tragedy, right, and that's used to justify, again, the death of countless number of civilians, innocent people, bystanders, then again, why is that not the same for the other side? Like, again, why shouldn't it be said that Hamas was assured themselves that they were openly and actively engaged in a war against Israel, right? So why isn't Richie Torres excusing, which nobody should, right? And I want to make that very clear. Nobody should. But why isn't Richie Torres trying to excuse the civilian deaths on 7 October as just something that, a byproduct of war, right? If we believe that Hamas actively thought that they were engaged in this to, for their survival, which again, nobody should be ever justifying. It should not be justified, and I am not trying to justify. Let me make that fucking very clear. But I'm just trying to go off the basis of Richie Torres's argument here. And that's basically what he should be saying if his argument was going to be continued on a through line without trying to fucking waver up and down in order to justify what Israel is doing, but attack, the plight of the Palestinian people.
Suggesting that
they've killed journalists. They've killed journalists.
Over 230 journalists.
People have been killed in a war. It's been a tragedy.
They've killed people waiting for aid.
But you're suggesting that
and no response. No response on that. They've killed people waiting for aid, which has been a huge story as of late. We covered it here on Blunt Politics, where Green Beret Tony Aguilar was making the rounds on pretty much every social media platform that he could fucking find and get the opportunity to sit in on, to tell everybody what he saw firsthand with his own eyes while being over there, while being contracted by the, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the GHF. This fake organization put together to try to fucking either drug, gas, kill, lure Palestinians into dangerous areas so they're killed that way. We covered that here extensively. We talked about what Tony Aguilar had seen firsthand. We showed the videos. He was on with people from fucking Tucker Carlson to NPR and everybody in between, trying to get his story out there. So this is not something that people do not know about. And now you have Richie Torres, confronted with these realities, confronted with these facts, and he's got nothing to say about it.
It's the policy of the Israeli government to murder civilians, and that is a notion that I reject.
You gotta listen, man. You gotta be like a human being about this.
People who are dying in the war, which to me is a tragedy, because war is a tragedy.
Do you feel in your heart that this is what you're saying is right?
If you remove Hamas,
you don't actually think that.
I told you
he does. You can tell he stutters and stammers, and the pauses. It's very telling, these little indications that he gives as to when he asks the question, do you really believe the shit you're saying right now? And somebody that I believe really did believe what they're saying would have no problem, would have no fucking, there'd be no pause in their statement. They wouldn't look confused. They wouldn't look like they just got fucking caught like a deer in headlights. But this guy does.
What I believe. Don't tell me what I believe. I've told you what I believe.
Why would you believe that?
Because there are people.
And now he gets fucking, contentious. Now he starts getting angry because he knows he's in a bad place. He knows he's been put several times in the corner without anywhere, with nowhere to go and no outs for what he said.
Who see the world differently. I know it's a shock to you, but there are people who see the world differently.
Right, again, being fucking, having indignation towards the interviewer here, who again is pouring out his fucking heart, who might not be shown in any of these clips, but literally in this interview says, what I am saying now is going to get me in trouble with my family. It's going to get me in trouble with my friends. It's like, they're not going to like what I'm saying, because I am supposed to back Israel regardless, no matter what they do, 100% without question. And you can see the internal struggle. You can see the internal dialogue he's having with himself in this moment. In the confusion, in the anger that's resonating because of the rhetoric coming from Richie Torres, and the inability to call out what everybody sees, or what fucking at least most people see at this point for what it is.
The absolute tonal change from when Richie Torres is discussing the Israeli citizens killed on October 7th to the tens of thousands, and estimates putting it up around 300,000 civilian deaths in Gaza. The tonal change. Between
Imagine that 300, and you got people saying, you have people running around saying, "Oh, sick, it's not that bad." You can think of the ratio here and the ratio to World War II and this and that, and this can't possibly. Well, let's just fucking wait and see, right? Because as we've continued to say, and as shows have continuously been pointing out as of late, the ability for the Gaza Health Ministry, who is now tasked with trying to get us these numbers, because, again, Israel will not let international journalists in to, again, confirm or deny or corroborate or, again, photograph or, confirm any of the evidence going on. So, again, we've been continuously relying upon the Gaza Health Ministry's word, which allows Israel to say, you can't believe anything that the Gaza Health Ministry says. So they've had that ability throughout this whole time. They can just, throw mud and throw paint and throw fucking dirt on anything that's coming out of there. But again, continuously here, as more destruction has occurred, more people are killed, the Gaza Health Ministry has less and less and less ability to accurately go through the rubble, and accurately get a count on how many people are dying, right? If you look at the fucking utter destruction in the area, you can see the impossibility of the task of trying to get a fucking accurate count of how many people have actually died, of how many people still lay below the rubble. So when you hear numbers as high as 300,000, and then you hear people still talking about, well, if fucking Israel wanted to commit, if they were really committing a genocide, and they really wanted, they'd just wipe them all out. No, motherfucker. We're still in 2025. Society has still progressed. As much as we've regressed in the last 10, 15 years, luckily, society has progressed enough where it wouldn't be allowed. The international community would not allow just the outright fucking carpet bombing, in a week or whatever it would be, by the IDF of this entire fucking region to, again, commit an actual in fucking an entire genocide, right? Which is, again, not what a genocide is. You don't have to kill every single member of the population in order to make that a genocide. Hope everybody knows that's clear to everybody. You do not have to get rid of not every single Jew in Europe was killed. An overwhelming majority were, but not every single one. Yet we do recognize that as a genocide, as the Holocaust that it was, right? It was the active attempt at that. It was the active attempt at the extermination. And again, I believe that Israel is going as far as they will, as the international community will allow them. And they know that there's a fine line that they're walking between the international community dropping the hammer down on Israel, and again, them fucking doing this, pitter patter, and organizations here and there, and countries here and there, kind of calling out sporadically. No, we need a continued combined effort of every international organization, every fucking country right now in support of the Palestinian people, to call for the fucking ceasefire, to call for the stop of the fucking carnage, to call for aid to be allowed to flow in to these people, to allow them to fucking regain their strength and their health. At least that much, not having a place to live. So hold on. Just going to see if there's anything else. Let's see here. Let's see if there's anything. Yeah, this was Politico from 45 minutes ago. All right. Israel kills 45 as it intensifies Gaza City strikes ahead of seizure meeting. A planned group operation to seize Gaza City is not expected to start for several weeks. Israel stepped up its assault on Gaza City over the weekend, killing at least 45 people and leveling residential buildings as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's security cabinet prepared to discuss plans to seize the city. Local health officials told Reuters at least 30 people were killed Sunday alone, including 13 who were trying to collect food near an aid site in central Gaza. Like, this is fucking a war crime. 13 people trying to collect food near an aid site. Like, how? That's a fucking war crime. Every single instance of that is a war crime. A separate strike on Saturday killed 15 people, among them 5 children. The Israeli military said it was reviewing the reports, adding it takes steps to minimize civilian casualties while targeting militants. What a fucking bunch of horseshit that is. Netanyahu has called the city, quote, the last bastion of Hamas, and his cabinet is set to debate the phase of a planned offensive on Sunday. So he's treating this like it's fucking Berlin. He's treating this like he's got Hamas locked up in a fucking bunker like Adolf Hitler was at the end of World War II while the Russians were fucking knocking on the doorstep. And this is going to be the final assault on the city to finally take the people up. You know, the group that now has probably more people in it than it did when this fucking, when these atrocities started. Let's see here. Meanwhile, pro-Palestinian flotilla departed Barcelona for Gaza on Sunday, aiming to, quote, break Israel's illegal siege. Organizers said the global Samud flotilla set sail around 3:30 p.m. with activists and supporters on board, including Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg. Israel is very clear about their genocidal intent. They want to erase the Palestinian nation. They want to take over the Gaza Strip, said Thunberg, hitting out at politicians and governments for, quote, failing to uphold international law. They are failing to do their most basic legal duties to act to prevent a genocide, to stop their complicity and support for the occupation and the genocide of Palestinians. And unfortunately, let me see here. Let me see if there's anything else. That wasn't the only one. Let's see here. This was 10 minutes ago from Al Jazeera. Live, Israel reducing Gaza City to fields of rubble as attacks kills 68. Israel stepped up its attacks, reducing neighborhoods to, quote, fields of rubble, end quote. Israeli forces have killed 68 Palestinians across Gaza since dawn, including 32 aid seekers. 32 aid seekers. Like, we understand that's not a militant. We understand that's not a combatant. That's not somebody with a bomb strapped to their chest. That's not somebody with an AK-47 under a garment. These are people literally starving to death, trying to get aid, being made to walk fucking 10, 15 kilometers each way through fucking dangerous territory, only to be shot and killed or bombed or grenaded or gassed at the fucking aid site. Like, these are war crimes. This is a war crime. International law does not this is not this is not how it works. Needless to say, this is not how it works. The Geneva Convention, international law, fucking human rights organizations and everybody else alike say that this is against the fucking law. Every single one of these acts is illegal and needs to be fucking adjudicated. And hopefully every single one of these that are literally being reported on. This isn't this isn't the Wereth 11, right? Anybody that knows their World War II history. This isn't the Wereth 11, or this isn't the any number of atrocities that the SS committed on the Western Front against the Allies, where they tried to hide their crimes and bury the soldiers that they killed. This is being reported in live updates in real time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to fucking outlets all over the planet. Pictures, right? From fucking any Gaza resident, any Palestinian that has a phone and is able to fucking record something and get it out to Al Jazeera and get it out to Politico, because they do not allow their own international journalists to get in there and do the coverage. And this is not a secret. This is not something we're going to have to find out in 5 or 10 years what's going on behind the scenes. This is open, in your face, fucking being planned to the minute. Every detail. And it's fucking crazy. It couldn't be more out in the open. It couldn't be more blatant. And it fucking kills me that we still struggle to get a hold on calling this shit out. And we still have assholes like this motherfucker, willing to give Benjamin Netanyahu a platform on one of the biggest platforms on YouTube in order to spew his propaganda, in order to, offer no pushback whatsoever, in order to meagerly and like a fucking pussy try to throw in the word genocide and try to bait everybody in with this video by saying that Benjamin Netanyahu admits. Here, do you guys see this? Anybody that hasn't caught the first couple coverage, look at the title of this video. Netanyahu admits genocide. And again, through my coverage, we are 22 minutes in of a 41-minute interview, and he has yet to admit anything near something considered what he would call a genocide. Right? But then, this shit continues. This shit continues. And unfortunately, let's see. I think there was another one too. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, this is from the Washington Post. I also saw. Let's see if I can put this on the stage. Gaza post-war plans. Oops, excuse me. My apologies. Oh, can I not just look at the article? I don't want to read it. I just want to fucking get out of my way. No. I don't want to do any of that. How do I get back? I don't want to do any of this. No, I just want to look at the fucking headline. That's all I want to see. Good. Gaza post-war plan envisions voluntary. Fucking hell. All right, one sec. Jesus H. Christ. For crying out loud. I'll do this. How about this? You can see it here. Gaza post-war plan envisions voluntary relocation of entire population is literally a fucking headline in the Washington Post in 2025. Right? I mean, look at what's going on. These are fucking headlines in major publications. This is just 2 hours ago. Gaza post-war plan envisions voluntary relocation of entire population. No, absolutely. They can fucking kiss both sides. Absolutely. But, I mean, the fact that that's being reported and it's not bigger news and it's not being called out more and there aren't fucking, fucking human rights organizations and militaries on the fucking doorstep and on the phone 24 hours a day trying to be like, hey, listen, motherfucker, it's 2025. You can't be doing this shit. Like, this is ridiculous. You're starving an entire population only to take over their territory in hopes of fucking voluntarily relocating the other half or whoever remains after you starve the population. Oh, thank you, Robin. Don't let up with this. There's a groundswell from Dems who don't want candidates taking AIPAC money. Epstein money trail shows Israeli effort to prevent two-state solution during Clinton. Follow Senate Wyden. Absolutely. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Robin. And there was if I'm not mistaken, let me see if I can pull this up. I thought the Majority Report may have done a video talking about Epstein's connection with, let's see here. Epstein. Sorry, let me see if that brings up anything. See here. I thought it was a Majority Report. That was 1 day ago. 2 weeks ago. Let me see here. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Robin. And again, I think that kind of ties back into that, the story of, here it is right here. Let me see if I can just play a couple seconds of this.
He's flexing his.
Excuse me. Put this on this. Oh, you can see it. All right. The fact that you're talking about there, Robin, when you're discussing, who's funding who and Dems don't want candidates taking AIPAC money. I think that it goes back to the story of the Democratic content creators getting funding as well. So that kind of ties back into that. But Robin, I appreciate the contributions. That goes for Deanne as well. Thank you so much, Deanne. Selfish side note, I'm 54 tomorrow. Let's fucking go, Virgos. Love you, lobsters. Thanks, Brian. Happy birthday or happy pre-birthday, Deanne. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for dropping by. Thank you so much for your contributions. We really, really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm just assuming we got some wires crossed here on the time. On the times here with Chris Cluey. I do apologize about that. Let me see if I can get an update. Maybe check in on this. See if no, nothing yet. Not a yet. So I'm just assuming we kind of got the wires crossed on the times. Maybe that's my fault. I probably should be more specific. I know there's so many show times, and I'm trying to do it in East Coast and West Coast times that it kind of gets confusing for everybody. So my apologies on that one. He doesn't try to pop in later on today thinking that that's when the time was. Maybe I'll have to sit here and wait for him. But all right, let's just check in on a little bit of this. The majority report. This was from yesterday or a day ago. Talking about Louis Black pretty much confirms Epstein was an Israeli intelligence asset. Goes along with what Robin was just discussing as well. I'm going to speed this up just a touch. And again, not going to go through the whole thing, but just want to get the gist out there. Let's go 1.2 and see how that works for us. I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I appreciate your patience, and I apologize for the miscommunication, but we're trying our best here.
His producer chops, finding us comedian-related Epstein material. This is your wheelhouse, and Israel-related. I really like this. So I guess this was back in January 2024.
Just more examples of how this has been out here in the sphere for, I don't know.
So basically, it's all out in the open, right? And again, that's what everybody, I think, and what Congress has been talking about lately, too. Like, even the stuff that they've been receiving lately is stuff that pretty much can be found if you dig hard enough somewhere on the internet.
What, 7 years now?
Yes, Epstein's Israel connections.
Yes.
Listen to Louis Black talk about the time he visited Jeffrey Epstein's
And it's
house.
comedian, so don't expect follow-up questions.
Yeah.
We're just trying to riff.
Yeah.
I heard this. This is some of the funnious. Not know how to follow up a question.
Right, I believe. Oh, and I think they're calling him out. They're calling him out for that as well, as you can hear them joke about, his being confronted on this as well. So I'm not giving him any props. This is just kind to relay the information that he has to relay, and then you guys can hash that out and dig through that as you see fit. So again, not giving any. This ain't flowers for nobody in this situation. Well, flowers for the majority report and Emma, of course.
This is protect your bag. I think this is actual stupidity.
This is over my head at 100 miles an hour.
I'm not touching this crap. Here we go.
One that was Epstein's girlfriend. That's what I thought. And it was the kind of thing you go into when we got here. It's weird from the beginning, because it's like you go in and he's got a whiteboard and there's all of this stuff drawn on it, and he goes, you want me to tell you what that is? And I go, yeah, well, sure. Bobby and I, he goes, I had the Israeli defense minister here last night for dinner. And then he's got me and Bobby Slayton. Wow. Are you shitting me? And then he said, and so we were talking about, he was showing me what.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, what's his stupid name? Kid Rock there, being in the Oval Office or being at the White House. Right, remember the story he talks about where Donald Trump brought him in, showed him fucking like maps and like attack plans or whatever the fuck he was showing him, and Kid Rock was like, I don't think I'm qualified to be showing, I don't think I'm qualified to be seeing this stuff, which he was 100% fucking right. Right, this kind of reminds me of that. So this asshole goes into Jeffrey Epstein's place with some other dude, and on a whiteboard is written some fucking information about his meeting in the previous night with the Israeli, the Israeli intelligence minister? What do you call him? Let me say one more time.
Defense minister here last night.
The defense minister, the Israeli defense minister.
And then he's got me and Bobby Slayton. Are you shitting me? And then he said, and so we were talking about, he was showing me what kind of defense systems Israel would use in case of attack.
Wow. Showing fucking Louis Black, a comedian, what type of weapon systems Israel was going to use in case of attack. Like, I'm pretty sure one would have to meet with the Israeli defense minister in order to get the specific information that Louis Black was looking at on that board. Right. So, I mean, take it for what this is. Take it for who is saying it. Right. Take it with the fucking biggest grain of salt. But again, if this doesn't kind of lend credibility to the conspiracy or the talking point or the allegation that Jeffrey Epstein was, again, not only connected behind the scenes with layers and layers of popular, powerful people on the governmental stage, but also behind the scenes dealing with governmental militaries, dealing with fucking high-profile Israeli government officials as well. So again, now you look at the Israeli control of our lobbies, the Israeli lobbies control over our politicians, and how that could be seen and how that could be used. If you got American politicians, U.S. politicians being filmed with, fucking prostitutes, or filmed with underage girls, or, filmed in compromising situations, that can be used as blackmail to then get Israel or get AIPAC or get whatever lobby the things that they want. Get them to vote. Say, hey, listen, motherfucker, you don't vote yes on this certain bill. Guess what video is coming out? Guess what fucking sound recording is coming out? I bet your wife and your kids and Fox News and everybody would love to see these tapes, right? So you can kind of see how this whole thing worked. If it, went down as everybody is suggesting it went down the way it went down. So let's see if there's any more in this.
Oh. And I thought, what's the Israeli defense minister?
Hold on.
Why would you tell me?
Hold on. What? Wow. Jeffrey Epstein's getting into intricate, war plans from the Israeli defense minister. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, Norman's like just trying to think of a pun.
Yeah.
That's like what his brain does.
That's like the wow I give my dad when he's like 12 minutes into a fishing story.
Yeah. Right. Wow. That's interesting. Oh, you caught a 3-footer? How long did it take you? Go back. This is incredible. So he's got to be, first of all, I think Ehud Barak was the defense minister from 2000.
I was going to say, I'm not sure what year he's talking about, so I didn't want to go ahead and name or accuse any of the defense ministers not knowing exactly who he was talking about, but looks like Emma points it out here.
2007 to 2013. Barak is very closely associated with Epstein, seen going in and out of his home, as closely tied to him as even like a Bill Clinton. So that's who I'm assuming was probably the defense minister he's referring to. But this is just amazing.
Bobby and he goes, I had the Israeli defense minister here last night for dinner, and then he's got me and Bobby Slayton.
Fucking just think of the idiots he's telling this to, too, right? Just think of this information and the idiots that it's being relayed to right now. Fucking unbelievable how we get our news and who's being fucking, who's being called out and how they're being called out and where they're being called out. It really is wild where news comes from nowadays. So now Lewis Black on, I forget what the asshole's fucking, I forget what podcast that was. But now we're getting insight as to what Jeffrey Epstein was involved in from, again, a comedian on a podcast in 2025. More information than we've got from Pam Bondi, the head of the DOJ, who has, again, the entirety of these fucking files in her possession, which, again, would probably include a lot of the information. Yeah, Ehud Barak. Yeah, former PM. Right. All right, let's just see here. I'm going to scroll down here and see if there was anything else worth covering in that. If not, we'll see if we can hop back into our extended coverage. Actually, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of thinking that it's a wash with Chris. I think we kind of, like I said, got our wires crossed on times on that one. So again, I'm struggling to try to find a time to jump into something. I don't want it to kind of. But I think at this point we can safely say, unless maybe it's not even the second hour, right? Because we're even late on the second hour at this point. All right. I'll take the hit on that one. All right. So why don't we get into my thoughts on this article here? I know, guys. Everybody's been talking about it. It's been making its way around Blue Sky. Content creators have been making videos about it in response. So I've kind of had a lot of feelings on this whole thing. Again, though, for those of you who don't know, this is a Wired magazine article talking about, again, this is just the title. A dark money group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats' online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. I should say there is an update on the bottom of this. Again, that kind of throws into dispute some of the facts in this article. Again, it says the following this publication of this article, Graham Wilson of the Elias Group, Elias Law Group, whose participation in a Zoom call was reported upon in this article and who did not respond to Wired's pre-publication email requesting comment, reached out to Wired on several points. These include whether members of the cohort can publicly talk about working with Chorus and Chorus's connection to good influence, both of which Wired has clarified. Which have also included comment from Wilson regarding Chorus's practice, placing, quote, restrictions on content, whether V. Spahar was included in any Chorus material. So a couple corrections there. But this is, again, apparently about a group Chorus that Brian Tyler Cohen put together, supposedly in order to hand out what he's calling scholarships to build up creators and help them, I guess, kind of build platforms. Is kind of the gist of it, and you know, some of the people involved are pretty high profile, which again kind of leads me to believe like it doesn't really make sense in my eyes that like somebody like David Pacman or Olivia Juliana, who is very well known on TikTok and YouTube, like I have Aaron Parnas, like I have a very hard time believing that these already well established high profile political commentators need the $8,000 a month and need the extra resources in order to help them build up their platforms, right? And again, my problem with this was the creators not being allowed to talk about certain things or not having 100% control over their content. I know that was one of the things in discussion, in discrepancy here. But I would just like to say it's a problem if the content creator does not have 100% in complete control over their content. It's a problem if they cannot disclose who they're working with, which is, again, another thing that was put into dispute in this. So whichever way you want to go, again, this is an article by Taylor Lorenz. Say what you will about Taylor Lorenz. Some people think she does fabulous work. Some people think she's a hack. It goes both ways on this. So I'm just going to kind of stay away from accusing anybody of anything and just kind of give you my take on this either way, right? So again, I have never heard any of these creators come outright and say, hey, I work with Chorus or promote Chorus or anything, right? Which lends me to believe it's, you know, if they weren't told to keep it secret, it really wasn't a top priority of them to promote and advocate for it. Again, maybe you guys have heard them talk about it. I have not. I'm a political commentator. I'm in this scene a lot. I'm on YouTube and watching these places a lot. I have not heard anything about Chorus. I was not offered anything. I don't receive any money from anybody other than you find people in the chat. But again, that was my thoughts on it, where, you know, if it was in contract that you couldn't disclose who you were working with, where the money was coming from, if it was, you know, said that you couldn't have control over 100% of your content and certain things couldn't be talked about, I would have a serious fucking problem with that. And that would be nothing that I would ever put my name to. Again, Brian Tyler Cohen came out with a video saying that is not true. Those parts of the story isn't true. They were never told. But again, I've not seen on these people's profile or anything that they've put out like, hey, join Chorus or check out Chorus or anything like that. So it seems to be like these people were recruited for this. And a lot of them, again, I think it said that like the people involved have something like 40 million followers on all of platforms. So I struggle to believe that this is like a scholarship thing. Again, not really what a nonprofit is supposed to be used for, right? In my eyes. And again, we still really don't know where the money comes from that's funding. Like $8,000 a month is fucking huge, huge money. Like that's a complete and total salary in and of itself. That's nearly $100,000, right? A year, which is far and away more than what a majority of people make. So again, I have a problem with the transparency. I have no problem if out in the open, Brian Tyler Cohen and his Chorus group or even the DNC were to try to recognize and highlight and promote creators, independent creators that they say are truth tellers because of what they are already saying and covering. Like that doesn't Like that, they don't have to change the content that they're covering in the future. They just keep doing what they're doing because they think it's doing a great job. It's out in the open. They can tell people, hey, I'm being promoted by and funded by this group or that group, or I am affiliated with or work with this group or that group. I think that would make it a lot easier. This actually, in my eyes, does a lot to hurt our argument of getting money, especially dark money, out of politics, right? So if we're going to combat the Republicans for having billionaire donors and billionaire funders who are given, substantial amounts behind the scenes without knowing where it's coming from, the people getting it, not even knowing where it's coming from, just to go out there and spew propaganda, then I have a hard time saying why. And I know everybody's going to say fight fire with fire, and we got to be doing it too. And like I said, I have no problem with out in the open, transparently, whatever group, whoever it may be, promoting who they think, any independent creators they think are truth tellers and think and deserve to be highlighted, or showing them the ropes and showing them how to build their platform and showing them how to do thumbnails or whatever the fuck. Like, I have absolutely no problem with that as long as we can see where the money's coming from. There's no guessing. There's no hiding in it. There's no shadiness. But it just seemed to me like there also seemed to me in this to be a through line of pro-Israel sentiments in the creators that are involved in this. So again, I don't think I would even fit the mold. If you listen to the people that have been contacted, and if you listen to videos of people that are speaking about this that weren't contacted, there's a pretty glaring similarity in all the channels and people that were not contacted with this. They're pretty outspoken on whatever subject they feel passionately about, whether it be Gaza, whether it be the atrocities that Israel is committing, whether it be, fucking the ongoing assistance that the United States is providing Israel in its ongoing genocide, whether it be calling out certain Democrats or whatever it may be, right? So there's a certain group, a certain mold that they actively didn't seek out for people in this group. And again, I don't think I fit the mold. I think an extra $8,000 a month from somebody that is willing to put their name out there, and I could, I could say, hey, these people thought I was so good, they're willing to, these people here, and this is how they get their money, and this is the corporation how they generated, and whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, it would be a lot easier if it was transparent. I think that's kind of the whole problem I had with it. And again, there's been corrections to this, and I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong. I've seen Brian Tyler Cohen's video on this, and I know that David Pacman had a video on this. It didn't seem like in Pacman's video he was saying this was untrue. It was more just kind of saying like, hey, we need to start doing something to combat what's going on in the right. And I agree. I think we need to find different ways in order to elevate independent creators in these smaller platforms, and to get ways for politicians to start utilizing these smaller platforms and YouTube and Twitch and these other things in order to get engaged with younger voters and different voters, right? So we've been saying that for a long time. I just don't know if dark money, supposed scholarships for people like David Pacman, who's been in the fucking business for 20 something years, got millions of followers. Like, I'm having a tough time believing that he kind of needs help with his thumbnails at this point. Aaron Parnas, huge, again, I have trouble believing that he needs any assistance, either financially or with his platform. Again, Olivia Juliana, really big on TikTok. Again, something like 40 million followers from all of these people. So that was just kind of my 2 cents on it. What do you guys think in the chat? If we're trying to get money out of politics, we're trying to get especially dark money out of politics, money where you can't trace back where it came from and who's donating it and as to what purpose, then I feel like this kind of, does us more harm than good. And again, I think the easiest way to kind of settle this would be for them to release the contract. Right? I'm not saying that they're gonna. I'm not saying that that's something that's gonna happen. I'm just saying I think that would probably be the easiest way to end all of this, is to show the exact contract, because the story had to come from somewhere. It says in the article and again, take it or leave it for what you will for who wrote it, and again, with the updates on it, that it was said in the contract that, you know, the people couldn't really disclose who they were working for. There was like meetings and stuff like that. Let's see here. Bowstring mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of political content the creators could produce. Right. So that's where that's where the issue for me comes into play, above and beyond, especially where the dark money comes from. That's why I, up until now, have not taken any ads or no financial backers or whatever you want to call it in the show, because I have a feeling like I have the thought that kind of has the ability to sway what you talk about on the show. I know you always have the ability to drop an ad or whatever, ad sponsors, whatever. And there are progressive media stations on here that absolutely do ad reads and sell you stuff. But I don't know. I feel like as soon as you start taking money from a company, it puts you in a situation where if and when you talk about or start discussing something that is either uncomfortable for that company or something that they blatantly go against, they will either, you'll try to either change your rhetoric in order to keep that money, or, it has the ability to kind of sway. And I'm not saying everybody is swayed by it. I'm not saying that anybody that does ads or takes ad revenue or anything like that is swayed by their benefactors or the people that buy ads. I don't know. That's just kind of my feeling on it. I don't want to be swayed and have people selling stuff on the show writing into me saying, oh, I don't want you talking about Gaza, or the way you spoke about Israel, or the way you spoke about this or that the other day was we vehemently disagree with, so we're pulling our ad rev, and then I'm dependent upon that ad revenue, so then I try to, what I mean, like, I don't want that to be a fucking a hill that I start falling down. And I hope you guys understand and can have a little bit of respect for that decision, which is why I annoyingly and consistently have to remind you about the Venmo up in the corner, the Patreon down at the bottom line, signing up for memberships just underneath me on the YouTube page, which is under $3 on YouTube, $5 on Patreon, or any amount whatsoever on Venmo. Venmo is the most direct way to get the money to the place you want it to get to. There's no waiting. There's no taking money from Venmo. Venmo doesn't take any parts of it. So if you have the ability to use Venmo and the wherewithal or the want to contribute to independent media stations like this, I would very much advise you to maybe try doing it that way. I appreciate every single person that not only signs up for memberships, hits their goal, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal, all of it. Everybody that does anything like share, subscribes, all of that stuff. You share it out on Blue Sky. It really, really goes a long way in helping this channel. And we're on the rise. I think we're getting damn close to 13,000 subscribers. I don't think it can be that long from now. I don't think we could be that far away. Let's see. Arizona Sunflower. Pac-Man's ads includes breakfast cereals. Pretty tame. We understand, Brian. Yeah, but I mean, even him, the critiques of him are pretty widespread as to his inability to, aggressively call out Israel for, again, the atrocities that they're perpetrated in, right? If you go down the list of a lot of the people that are involved in that, there's kind of a through line where they, if ever or very rarely, speak about the plight of the Palestinian people, or the atrocities that are now being committed, or the active participation the United States has in those atrocities, like that type of stuff, right? I'm not saying all of them. It would be ridiculous to wrap them up all in the same blanket, but there's a clear through line that you can see on that one. So I don't think I'm in line for $8,000 a month anytime soon, unfortunately, from them. All right, let's see if we can get back into, we got about 40 minutes left, so let's see how much we can get through of this. This has been a few day project here on the Blunt Politics podcast, but it ties right into with, again, calling out atrocities, calling out what the Israeli government and Benjamin Netanyahu is engaged in, and the final solution they have for Gaza City. So let's see if we can get into just a little bit of the rest of this, and then I want to cover any news that's been going on as far as Ukraine, because Donald Trump, again, giving Vladimir Putin a break as far as timelines are concerned. So let's get into just a little bit of this. I'll search up the article in the background, and then we'll get into that one. So I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button. This is, again, pretty big dickhead on with Benjamin Netanyahu, allowing him to spread his propaganda. I'm here to call it out. It says that Netanyahu admits genocide. So far, he has not, but we're actively awaiting that to happen. So what do you say we get into just a little bit of this, and then we'll switch it up with what's going on between Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Ukraine. Here we go.
And make him do what he wants. I don't think President Trump is. But I do think Biden and others are. So the whole criticism of the fact that Israel, whatever they want, they can call America and have favors being done, I would agree with you on Trump, but with Biden. So maybe a question that I don't think has been asked yet. Putin was asked 2 weeks ago if the war between Ukraine and Russia would have happened under Trump. He said, no, it wouldn't have happened. So for you, would the war and the Hamas attack have happened if President Trump was president instead of Biden?
I don't know. It's a good question. But
what an absolute joke of a question to ask. As stupid as it is to ask Vladimir Putin about free and fair elections, about mail-in voting, about whether or not the war that he started in Ukraine would have happened if Donald Trump really stole the election like he wanted to. Excuse me. Right? Like the absurdity of the question, or just the line of questioning to ask Benjamin Netanyahu this, or to ask Vladimir Putin whether or not the war they started would have started if Donald Trump somehow actively stole the 2020 election is so frustrating.
But you said something about Biden that I should just point out the facts. In fact, President Biden supported us in the beginning of the war after this horrific massacre, and he came here, and I very much appreciate it. But as the war progressed and the vilifications of Israel, the distortions on the media began to pile on, he began to take a different course. And when we were just 2/3 of the way, 3/4 of the way in Gaza, I said we have to go into that last position that they had, where they had organized battalions. It's in a city called Rafah, in the southern part of the.
And what's he talking about? As far as I can recall, the only substantial action that Joe Biden ever took against Israel in this fucking war was not allowing them to continue the use of 2,000-pound bombs in a fucking heavily populated area. Am I mistaken? Or were there other? I don't recall. I don't recall Joe Biden really stepping up forcefully to the plate and stopping either offensive weapons other than the 2,000-pound bombs. Am I remembering incorrectly here? Because it sounds like, thank you, Ricky. Thank you so much, Ricky. I appreciate you. You've been a big few last couple of shows. You've been really, really huge. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, because it's seeming like he's trying to make it seem like Joe Biden was fucking, not supportive of Israel and didn't support their ability again to, quote, defend themselves, when that couldn't be further from the truth. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, Wes. So most of us don't believe that New Year bound and Temple Mount will bring on the second coming of Jesus. What kind of Christians are we? All right. Who you got to talk to is Mike Huckabee, Wes. You got to talk to Mike Huckabee, because again, the sickness of these people in wanting and supporting Israel only to then see their demise so they can fucking have the rebirth of Jesus, or the reunification of Jesus, or whatever the fuck, is pretty sick in and of itself. And you're 100% right, Wes. So let's continue.
As a strip, and he said, "Don't go there." And he said, "If you do go there, I'll smack an embargo on you." Now, you're fighting a 7-front war, and all of a sudden you're slapped with an embargo of weapons.
Yeah, imagine that. How fucking, what a shame. I mean, you're committing war crimes left and right. Your military's out of control, as reported by Haaretz, an Israeli publication, and others. And it's fucking, how absurd it is that the United States wouldn't allow you to continue the use of 2,000-pound bombs in one of the most heavily populated areas on the fucking planet.
That was tough. And I said to President Biden, who I've known for many years, I respect the fact you're the president of the United States. but I'm the prime minister of the one and only Jewish state.
Again, this is Joe Biden we're talking about, a self-proclaimed Zionist. Again, I believe Zionism in the older sense of the word as, as it, not as it's viewed today and how it's been hijacked today by fucking genocidal individuals looking for an ethno-state, right? But literally, Joe Biden would come out and say, I am a Zionist. I am a self-proclaimed Zionist. I don't know, like, what more you would expect or what else you need from the American president, Benjamin Netanyahu. What more, like, what else are you expecting?
And we've been fighting to survive in our small place under the sun. It's been a battle that has been going on for 3,500 years. So I'll have to do what we have to do. And then a few days later, Tony Blinken, who was the Secretary of State, came to Israel, and he said, the president is serious about this embargo. And I said, Tony, I know it's serious because you stopped all the weapons. You slow walked them before, but now you
stopped all the weapons. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, when were all the weapons stopped going to Israel? Does anybody remember that point in time? Can you put it in the chat? What was the date in which all weapons was stopped going to Israel? Under the Biden administration. You guys remember that happening? Because I feel like that would have been a big story.
And then I said to him this. He said, well, how are you going to do it then? I said, Tony, we'll fight with our fingernails if we have to. But we're not going to leave. It's like the Allies would leave a quarter of the German battalions in place and not go into Berlin. And I said, would you take that? Would you take that, Patrick? Of course you would. So
I'm sorry, but what are you comparing it to the Allied soldiers going into Berlin? Well, Eisenhower gave Berlin, at least the first crack at it to the Russians, I would have you know. But literally doesn't make any sense because we didn't annihilate the entirety of the German military. We didn't kill every single German military member. We didn't kill every single SS member. We didn't kill every single Gestapo member. They were forced into surrendering, an unconditional surrender, because of the overwhelming power, but we didn't kill every single one of them. And by no reports are you down to a quarter of the Hamas militants that you started with. You see how he's trying to do that? He's trying to make it seem like he's only got a quarter left, ladies and gentlemen, when the reports are there are more Hamas militants, more fucking people claiming to be Hamas now, as per Tony Blinken, the gentleman that he's now talking about, I do believe, than there were when this shit started. Because of radicalization, because of anger, because of outrage. So don't give me this I'm down to a quarter bullshit. We just have a little bit left, is what he wants you to believe.
We didn't take it either. We did it against the opposition of the American president. So much for Israel controlling the United States. We don't. But we do seek to control our destiny. And when somebody...
you know what? As to that first point, I think that's fucking very much up for debate, especially the more we learn about AIPAC control, right? And how many politicians are under the control of AIPAC and how drastically that sways their decisions in voting and what policies they support and don't support and what rhetoric they use in front of cameras. So I'd kind of I'd slow your roll on the first one because the fucking control of the Israeli lobby on American politicians is far greater than most people could ever imagine.
He commits a crime like they did on October 7th, decapitating our men, raping our women and then murdering them, burning children alive in front of their parents, taking 255 hostages, grandmothers with their grandchildren. This horror. And
again, all atrocities that were actively and rightfully so called out the day they happened by fucking people with, active heads on their shoulders with brains that are functioning for the atrocities that they were, for the egregious acts that they were, while also recognizing the long and extensive history of this fight, while also recognizing the exponential use of deadly force in retaliation for those strikes, which has killed, again, far and away more innocent civilians than anything on October 7th, right? Is that not maybe the easiest way that we could talk and you know, discuss what happened? I mean, that's basically the whole fucking gist of it. If we're on the level of you know, being able to call out, rightfully so, the atrocities of innocent people being murdered on October 7th, then we should have absolutely no problem whatsoever calling out, again, the exponentially worse retaliations and the numbers that are exponentially worse as far as civilian deaths, children deaths, journalist deaths, humanitarian aid worker deaths than October 7th. Doesn't that just make sense?
Pledge to do it again and again and again. Well, what choice do we have? We have to fight them and their Iranian patrons, and we did just that. We did that first with American help, then with American opposition, and when President Trump came in, with great American help, which I truly...
American opposition. Get the fuck out of here. See what our like long-lasting relationship and all the money and the weapons that we send to Israel, see what that gets us? See what we receive for our fucking for our loyalty? Is this asshole, even though the Joe Biden literally the only thing he did was say that he couldn't use 2,000-pound bombs in a fucking city area, is going to say that we opposed Israel. We were opposed as a country, as a government, as our policy to what Israel is doing. Get the fuck out of here. How about that? How about that? How about you fucking fund your own shit? How about you use just your fucking weapons? If everybody's so worried in the MAGA movement about America first, shouldn't you be worried about the money that was sent? Shouldn't you be worried about the technology that we're sharing? Because so far it's gotten us nothing but complicity in an active and ongoing genocide, fucking destabilization in the region, and fucking the mark of the beast upon our back because of, again, what we continue to fund day after day, and then what's reported on night after night on the news. So we can see actively where our money's going as United States taxpayers. We can see that our money is being used to kill people on a daily basis. Thank you, moms. Appreciate you. Sorry, didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
We appreciate. And I think President Trump does what he thinks is good for America. I don't think that. I know that for a fact. He's a great leader.
So going back to that, I want to...
Again, kissing his ass, sucking up to him, trying to get him to continue to be the fucking malleable, the pliable stooge that he's always been in Donald Trump, right?
I want to clarify this again. So you said you don't know whether Hamas October 7 attack would have happened under Trump. So you're saying Hamas would have had the audacity, even under Trump, to have attacked, or no, they would have feared him?
Probably not, but it's hard to say with these maniacs. You can't quite tell. I think
it was literally Donald Trump in his first administration with the acts that he fucking put into place with moving the embassy, with the Golan Heights. And there was one more that I'm forgetting. Please hit me in the chat with the third one that I'm forgetting. The Golan Heights, the move of the embassy, and the Accords there, the Abraham Accords, right? All three things directly led and were used as justification on the October 7th attacks, where Miriam Adelson and her husband got Donald Trump because of the amount of money they donated to his campaign to do anything that they wanted, and moving the embassy and the Golan Heights and the Abraham Accords were just three things on the list of things that they wanted. So don't give me this fucking strong leader and they wouldn't have done this. They did it because of Donald Trump, among many other reasons. But Donald Trump has an absolute, there's blood on Donald Trump's hands from October 7th and fucking from every day since.
I think Iran would have been more careful. And Iran is the patron. Would they have controlled completely their client, their proxy? Maybe not. Maybe they would have, possibly. But look, I think President Trump has changed the posture of America. America is back on the global.
Right. Yeah. We're back to being bigoted and racist and homophobic and transphobic. We're back to fucking, we're back to isolationism. We're back to supporting, I don't know, fucking, I guess only genocidal freaks and dictators. Man, I'm not sure we ever had that point. Now, hold on. When was that point in our history? Maybe Donald Trump's creating that, a new point in our history here, where we're isolationists, but we will support genocides that fucking dictators are involved in. We'll continue to, just to break this up a little bit. I'll break this up just a little bit. Trump, Putin. Excuse me. What should I call it? Fucking, not a pause, but let's see here. I go news. This is 2 days ago. Let's see if I can find the most recent one. Let's see, 6 minutes ago. This is from The Guardian. That's 2 days ago. Let's go this one. Let's just take a look at the recent news here. How about just to kind of break up Netanyahu's face just a little bit? Essential, whatever. I don't know. Fuck you, cookies. Ukraine war latest. Zelensky plans new deep strikes against Russia. Putin in China to meet axis of upheaval. Vladimir Putin has arrived in China for a regional security summit aimed at countering Western influence in global affairs, as he is joined by Xi Jinping, the leader of Iran, and the leaders of Iran and North Korea in their first public show of cooperation. Now, does this sound like somebody who has just left a summit in the United States of America, who has planned to, I don't know, either work with or agree to a ceasefire with, or, actively engage in some sort of fucking, I don't know, I don't want to say peace deal or some agreement with Western powers? Somebody that is now actively meeting with Xi Jinping, the leaders of Iran and North Korea, and talking about how they can meet the axis of upheaval and go against Western leaders. Does that sound like somebody that's ready to engage in peace talks with the West? Zelensky has issued a frontline update to the strategically important city of Pokrovsk, which we've been talking about lately on the show. In the breakthrough that was being reported by the Russian military and other outlets there. We are defending our positions, and the main thing is that our active defense, we are destroying the occupier every day, Zelensky said. He added that Kyiv was working to ensure it had, quote, the necessary supplies, end quote, for its army throughout the autumn. A few hours earlier, the Ukrainian leader described Pokrovsk as the area where, quote, the Russian army is concentrating the greatest efforts. It comes after earlier this month on 12 August, Zelensky warned Russia may be sending 7,000 troops toward Pokrovsk. Again, where we talked about those early push-throughs there. In an interview on the same day, the intelligence deputy major General Vadim Skibitsky said that Russia planned to achieve all of its objectives around the likes of Pokrovsk, presumably seizing it by the end of August and the start of September. There was also this that I was looking at here. Let's see if I can. Let's see. All right, this was 2 days ago, 9 hours ago. I'm trying to just find the latest. I don't want to show you something from 2 days ago if it's changed, because you know how fast news changes, and especially with this administration. Let's see here. This is Trump's cabinet meeting was a full circle moment on Putin. That's not it. Is Putin playing Trump, or is Trump playing us? As a Fortune. This is from Fortune. Let's see if I can put this on the stage here. Jeffrey Sonnenfeld is Lesser Crown President, Leadership and Practical Yale Officer, Management, and founder of the Yale Chief Executive Leadership Institute. So that's who's written that. Who's written this article here. This goes on to suggest. Let's see here. I could have sworn. Was it this article that I was looking at that depicts, Trump kind of even giving Putin more time? Let's see here. My apologies. This is from The Hill. This is Trump casts doubt on Putin-Zelensky meeting. Maybe they'll have to fight a little longer. I think this might have what I was talking about here. Trump casts doubt on prospects of a meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as part of an effort to end the war in Eastern Europe, suggesting maybe they have to fight a little longer, he said. The president, in an interview with the Daily Caller, expressed confidence that a trilateral meeting between himself, Putin, and Zelensky could materialize, but has less confidence in the bilateral huddle between the two Eastern European leaders. So basically, he's saying that he has to be involved now, right? So before, remember when he was at the meeting with the European leaders saying, well, I'll happily set up the meeting, and whether I have to be there or not, I don't really care if I have to be there. Now he's saying that he has no confidence in whether or not Zelensky and Putin could be able to work this out by themselves without him being there. A trilateral would happen, a bilateral, I don't know about, but a tri will happen. But, sometimes people aren't ready for it. Trump told the callers, White House correspondent Reagan Reese in an interview published Saturday. I use the analogy, I've used it a couple times. You have a child and there's another child in the lot in the playground, and they hate each other and they start swinging, and you want them to stop and they keep going. He continued, quote, after a little while, they're very happy to stop. Do you understand that? It's almost that way. Sometimes they have to fight. Where'd that go? Sometimes they have to fight for a little before you can get them to stop. This is Donald Trump. The president added, but this has been going on for a long time. A lot of people are dead. Trump, as part of his effort to bring an end to roughly 3.5-year war, has pushed for a meeting between Zelensky and Putin. The Ukrainian leader, who also met with the president earlier this month, has signaled a willingness to sit down with the Kremlin leader, but Russian officials have so far rejected it. For now, Russia appears to be slow-walking the administration's efforts to broker a peace deal to end the fighting. You think? Ukraine has rejected the prospect of making large territorial concessions to end the war, as they should, and the U.S. and European officials have continued discussing potential post-conflict security guarantees to prevent another invasion. Trump again ruled out having U.S. troops on the ground as part of a security guarantee, but signaled openness to offering U.S. air support to help halt the war, something he floated earlier this month. Maybe we'll do something. This is Trump talking, quote, maybe we'll do something. Look, I'd like to see something get solved. There are not our soldiers, but there are 5,000 to 7,000 mostly young people being killed every single week, as we've heard him always say. If I could stop that and have a plane flying around the air once in a while, it's going to be mostly the Europeans, but we'd help them. But if we could have a plane flying around every once in a while, this guy has fucking absolutely no grasp on reality whatsoever. They sort of need it, and we'd help him if we could get something done. Again, that's Trump speaking. After meeting with Putin earlier this month, the U.S. officials touted major concessions from Russia, allowing NATO-like security guarantees for Ukraine. That's what we talked about and discussed in J.D. Vance's sit-down with, I believe, Laura Ingraham, in which he lies his face off and talks about phantom concessions from Russia, which aren't concessions at all. Again, one of the examples he gave was Russia was happy to say that they were not going to install a puppet regime in Kyiv to take over the entire country. Oh, great concession. Thank you for that concession. Considering you were supposed to have taken Kyiv in 72 hours, you're nowhere fucking near that after having lost over 1 million of your soldiers. And you want us to believe that you still have the ability to implement and input a fucking puppet regime in Kyiv at this moment in time? Like, get the fuck out of here. That's like saying, that's like me saying I'm playing some kid in basketball. It's like, all right, kid, don't worry. I promise I won't do a 360 between the legs windmill dunk where I jump off just 1 foot, throw it off the backboard, hit my father in the head somehow. It bounces back. I get it off the bounce, off the backboard. I go through the rim, but the bottom way, though, and then I come back and I dunk it the other way. I promise I won't pull that one out. It's like, well, that's not fucking possible anyway. It's like, yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. They're giving up concessions that aren't a possibility anyway in order to make it seem like they're giving concessions when in reality, they're just slow walking, like that clip just said, like the article just said, Donald Trump's regime, again, sending more troops into Pokrovsk, right? Meeting with China, meeting with the leaders of Iran, meeting with the leaders of North Korea. Does this sound like somebody that's ready to engage in peace talks or diplomacy with the Western powers? It doesn't to me. All right, so we got about 15 minutes left. Let's head back to these assholes and finish it out, and then I will let you guys get on with your day. I appreciate it. And again, I apologize about the confusion today. I'll take the hit. I'll put right hand up on that one. That's probably my fault somehow, some way. It usually is. So I apologize about the miscommunication today. We'll see if we can get Chris back on the show some other time, obviously, and get to the opportunity to speak to him, because I was really looking forward to the conversation. I had, notes and things to ask up the wazoo. it's not ending there. I even had a third page of questions that I was going to ask. So it's not like I wasn't prepared for it. So I appreciate it. But let's get back to these assholes and we'll finish it out. I'll thank you guys for your unbelievable contributions, both on Venmo and on YouTube. And then I'll let you guys get on with the rest of your fabulous weekend. So what do you say? We get into it. Let's go.
On the global scene, America is resumed its powerful position among the nations. And I think,
again, right off the bat, you can't go 2 seconds without stopping the shit. And again, that's why it's probably taken us 3 shows in order to, it's probably going to take us a 4th show in order to get through all of this and call out all of the bullshit, which is what I'm here to do. Call out the bullshit and the propaganda and the lies of the mainstream media, the Republican Party, Donald Trump, and assholes like Pretty Big Douchebag here. And breaking it down for everyday normal class working individuals like myself, like you guys, who are affected by these things every single day. All right. That's why we are here. This is what I do. That's why I'm so passionate about these, about this as a career. That's why I have made this a full-time gig and devote so much time, energy, and attention to, again, bringing you guys the news and the aspects of the news that I believe are most important and the things that are going to progress our society and help us win in the midterms and help us win in the general elections and help us make a change in this fucking country. If I can just be a small part of that, then, I will feel fulfilled in my duties. So I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
I think that's for the good, because I think one of the tragedies for the Jewish people was that in the first half of the 20th century, America was not the dominant.
Sorry.
global.
What I stopped at originally to say is, he tries to say that United States is back as a global power when, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take many articles that you read from, any, publication across the pond or, any publication that is not in the United States and how they view the United States now. We are hurting as far as tourism is concerned because people from outside of the United States just don't want to fucking risk coming here. They don't want to risk being rounded up at the airport. They don't want to risk being rounded up in the hotel that they're staying in or at the airport or wherever it may be because of something they said in the past on social media or because of their political beliefs or because of their religion, because of the color of their skin. We've talked about how New England was hurting from the lack of Canadian tourism. This is now happening all over this country right now where small mom and pop places and shops and bed and breakfasts and hotels and motels are really, really struggling right now because of the lack of, yearly tourism that they depend upon in order to pay their bills, in order to pay their clients and associates and keep the business going. The people are just not coming. We saw how dead, we talked with Jake Bro about how dead Las Vegas is comparatively, to how it typically is. And that is, again, was something that we're seeing all over this country. And that's just a result of, again, the United States being pushed down and down and down on the level of people that are respected on the world stage. Right, the same thing that happened in Donald Trump's first administration, that we could show statistically that the respect for the United States went down. The same thing has now happened again, but even worse. We've showed clips from LBC. We've showed clips from James O'Brien. We've showed clips from Al Jazeera. We've shown clips from BBC. We've shown clips from, a multitude of organizations that are not affiliated or based in the United States. Like, here we go. Check this out. Why don't we just listen to a little bit of this? Oh, my apologies. Let me put this in. So I just typed this in. James O'Brien, Trump thinks the war is Zelensky's fault. And then it says, what an irredeemable man. What an irredeemable idiot the man is. Okay. So in case you're wondering what people think of us on the world stage, right? What people view, how they view our president across the pond, then, look no further than this. Let's just take a look at, we got a couple minutes. Let's take a look at a little bit of what James had to say. And this is from 2 weeks ago too. So this isn't even, this is just literally the first thing that I saw. Let's go to, we can actually go to LBC. We'll go to their latest videos and see if there's anything more recent. Let's see if there's anything more recent here. Let's see here. This is a violation of international law. U.S. revokes visas of Palestinian officials ahead of UN meeting. So they're calling that a violation of international law, as they should. No president has ever said this. Trump flirts with the D word. Let's see here. So again, this is just a little bit of what, the LBC across the pond think of our country. Again, reporting. Ghislaine Maxwell condemns Salem witch trial. I don't know what the fuck. There's a showdown brewing for Trump. I mean, again, every single one of these is calling out Donald Trump for one reason or another. Let's see what they have to say on this one. I'm curious what they said. Where was that first one we were looking at? Right. What was that first one we were looking at? Oh, yeah, revoking the Palestinian. No, it's all right. We don't have to take a look at that. Let's get back into this one. My apologies. I was going to take a sidetrack, but I don't want to sidetrack too much. Here we go.
Global power. And the worst tragedy in the history of mankind, the World War II, took place, and I don't think it was accidental. And the worst tragedy in the history of my people, the Holocaust, took place. But in the second half of the 20th century, America emerged as the dominant power on the earth, and Israel came into being. And as a result,
it's remarkable to me that he just doesn't see it, or he does and doesn't care. The irony of talking about the fucking atrocities perpetrated upon his people, his ancestors, and what they had to live through and go through, themselves being starved to death, themselves being, in fucking put in camps, tortured, burned, worked to death, bombed incessantly, shot randomly, without justice, without due process. It's amazing to me that, what we're seeing happen directly in front of our eyes now is again being perpetrated by the same people of the same lineage from the ancestors that, again, know exactly what it's like to be on the receiving end of such vicious and vile hatred towards an entire population. It's just, I don't know if I'll ever get over the hypocrisy in such the short time span. The outright reversal of history is remarkable. It's atrocious, but it's remarkable.
History has changed. We no longer are massacred with impunity. We now have the ability to defend.
You are quite literally massacring a people with impunity. What the fuck are you talking about? You are quite literally massacring a people with impunity. The exact words that you just used that's the exact thing that you were doing. This right here is attacking people with impunity. This is destroying an entire population. This is destroying an entire area. This is ethnically cleansing an entire region in order for you to seize control and to move them, whoever remains, into fucking a desert region. This was a once thriving area that has been turned into fucking rubble, while the population starves because of the actions of the IDF, because of the actions of the genocidal Israeli government, in the Israeli settlers sitting in the way of the aid trucks. This is attacking a population with impunity. This is exactly what this is.
To defend ourselves. And we are very fortunate to have an ally, a strong ally, the United States, with successive presidents. We've had our differences, as I said, but overall, there's been a very strong alliance through all presidents. But it's never been stronger. It's never been so intimate and so powerful as it is now.
So intimate? Fucking settle down. Why don't you guys get a room, Chief? All right. I'm sure Melania's going to show up. And no, she's not around. And no, so you got free reign over Donald Trump and his little fucking mushy pecker.
President Trump.
You've been prime minister while President Clinton was in the White House.
He referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Sorry.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Obama and Trump twice. Is there an element of unpredictability with President Trump that you don't know necessarily what he's going to be saying next? Or do you notice?
Where does Netanyahu admit to a genocide? You fucking hack, fraud, piece of shit. When? Where do you get the gall, the balls to even fucking list that as the title to this video? And I'd love to see Netanyahu's reaction to when he sees, or his team saw the title of this video.
A pattern of similar approaches that they all take?
Well, look, I think President Trump has an enormous capability. He's irreverent to received wisdom, to traditional thinking. He says, well, let's look at it again, and sometimes he can surprise you. I'll tell you, I had conversations with him when he cuts to the chase on something, and he says something that no one before said. A lot of people felt in their gut, but they didn't have the guts to say it out loud, and he does. And I find that very refreshing. And also, I think that unpredictability is not a bad thing to have. Not a bad thing.
Yeah, when you're trying to scare, when you're trying to fucking frighten everybody, when you're trying to make it seem like you're like the unpredictable genocidal fucking dictator, it goes a long way in the power and control you can hold over people if they see you as unpredictable, if they see you as being fucking somebody that could pop off at any second with a missile or a rocket, right? You'll have an easier time controlling the people then, right?
To have with your sometimes with your allies. And certainly with your enemies.
I want to show you this clip. This is a clip of you and the president. You guys are standing right next to each other. And you give a look that you almost didn't know he was going to say this. And this is just personally for myself. I'm curious, did you know the president was going to be saying this? Go ahead and play the clip, Rob.
As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs. And it'll be something that the entire Middle East can be very proud of. But everybody feels that continuing the same process that's gone.
So is this at least where fucking pretty big douchebag is going to get into questioning Netanyahu about the Trump owning, fucking casinos, Trump Plaza, Gaza? Is he going to talk about the resettlement of this area at least? Because so far he's fucking, fanned big time. Big swing and a miss on this one, dude. I think he's really, as we saw from the comment section. You guys remember the comment section here? How good was this? I mean, just endless people going after, we'll just scroll down to any random part here. Let's see here. Patrick was on the show today calling everyone bots and guitar. This is the softest shit I've ever seen. Let's see. Calm down, everyone. Patrick's just teaching his sons it's okay to be buddies with a guy who killed 20,000 children as long as you can benefit off of it. Now say what you want, but this is the lesson unless they'll never forget. It's a damn shame. I used to see you as a symbol of strength, someone with good morals, solid character, and the kind of mentor young men could look up to. But after that interview, all of that collapsed. This interview revealed everything I needed to know. It goes on to say, 1, you sold out. 2, selling out is the purest form of weakness. 3, you've proven yourself untrustworthy. 4, your character now reeks of hypocrisy. 5, you show the ability to turn a blind eye to real evil, which means you're no man of God. 6, a lifetime of knowledge you've gathered is worthless now because in that moment you chose greed over truth instead of standing firm and having a voice over those who have been killed and are being killed. Your decision was to throw softball questions at a man actively committing genocide. You gave him a stage, not accountability. That choice destroyed any real value you ever had. You have ever become part of the problem. What a shame to see somebody with your platform, your voice, let greed overcome your integrity is disturbing. You're no longer a mentor to young men, but a cautionary tale. Damn. I've never seen Netanyahu so relieved and relaxed in an interview ever like this. You sold out to enter their circles. Now you're in, but at the cost of one thing that mattered the most, your integrity. Absolute travesty. I'm not watching this podcast anymore. They thought this was any different than the Nelk boys. PBD, you're a smart guy, so pretending ignorance, not knowing almost all U.S. politicians are controlled by AIPAC is insulting. The credibility you built over the years is gone. Your big interview with Benjamin Netanyahu fails to deliver. All you did just handed Benjamin Netanyahu the mic. This was pitched to Netanyahu like this. Don't worry about PBD. You can use his platform to push whatever propaganda you want, and he won't push back on anything. God damn. Never trusted PBD anyway. Sad to be proven right, though. PBD is a huge disappointment. This is PBD's page, dude. This is his own fucking page. Craziness. And rightfully so. He fucking deserves every bit of it.
It's gone on forever, over and over again. And then it starts, and then the killing starts, and all of the other problems start. And
I just want to hear this
you
part,
end
and
up-
I'll let you go. I want to hear what question is posed by Patrick Bet-David after this ridiculous fucking commentary by the U.S. president talking about taking over an area that has just been ethnically cleansed and bombed into oblivion and turning it into some fucking Trump Plaza Gaza, where the president of the United States has ownership of real estate in a territory that was just, gotten, just fucking awarded to Benjamin Netanyahu because of his war crimes on a legal basis. What's up, Dad? Love you, bud. All right, let's go. I just want to see what question he asked, and then I'll let you guys get out of here. I'll thank everybody for their contributions, whether $1 or $1,000. Y'all get recognized, and the show of appreciation at the end of the show. Again, whether it be through Venmo up in the corner. There's also a PayPal in case anybody has PayPal. I'll throw this up there just for a second. Let me see. Does that work? No, it doesn't work. Oh, yeah, it did work. No, it didn't work. There it is. There it is. In case you want to take a picture of the PayPal. Again, bust a buck, try your luck, support independent media. This is really and truly independent media, even to the extent where we don't sell anything. There is no fucking ad rev. Again, the YouTube ads are on the lowest amount possible. I think I've made about 37 cents in my career on YouTube through whatever ads that they have. I'm not receiving anything. I'm not receiving $8,000 a month behind the scenes. I promise you that. This is independent reporting, independent media, things that I want to talk about, things that I think are important in today's society, my opinions and my opinions alone. They're not swayed or bought or paid for by any other entity. Nothing along those lines. But again, before I go into a rant, let's just see what question is posed here by PBD.
The same place, and we don't want to see that happen. So by the United States, with its stability and strength, owning it, especially the strength that we're developing and developed over the last fairly short period of time, I would say really since the election, I think we'll be a keeper of something that is very, very strong, very powerful, and very, very good for the area, not just for Israel, for the entire Middle East, very important. And we'll, again, have thousands of jobs.
Can you pause it? You gave a look where you weren't expecting the president to say that, as if it's going to be our land. Were you surprised by what the president said here?
No, actually, I wasn't. But I can tell you that he said something else there. He said, and that surprised the world. And I thought, again, he cut to the chase. He said, why are Gazans locked in this area, which is just used as a base for attack against Israel for its destruction? That's
bullshit. It's an open air prison that you've been controlling for a long fucking time. None of this fucking horse shit talking about, this question of Trump shooting it straight on that one. What are you talking about? His genocidal fucking visions of putting a Trump Plaza Gaza casino in a territory that you just gained control over through fucking war crime tactics, through your acts of brutality, is something that you think something should be said by the United States president, is something that you're happy was said. And again, this doesn't seem like you can see on the top here, it says Netanyahu admits genocide, slams AIPAC critics, and Trump owning Gaza, right? So it sounds to me like he's slamming Trump owning Gaza, when in reality, it seems like he's very fucking happy with what Donald Trump said in this clip.
what the de facto Palestinian state in Gaza was. It was a base for Israel's destruction. It has no other purpose.
It has no other purpose. How about housing millions of women and children? How about being the homeland of millions of men, women, and children? How about being where, what the fuck are you talking about? Such disgusting rhetoric to put absolutely no importance on this land as far as the Palestinian people are concerned. It's just land that fucking deserves to be eradicated. It really is gross. So I'm going to end it there with him. I'm going to get into thanking everybody for their contributions. First off, let me start with the old Venmos. That way I don't forget about it. Let me see if I can just quickly get into Venmo here, and I'll thank you guys for your kind and generous contributions to the show. Let's see here. So let's see here. JD, thank you so much, brother. Dame Dog, thank you so much, brother. Let's see here. Tony, thank you so much. Tori, thank you so much. And Linda, thank you so very much for the people that contributed over there on Venmo. Let's see who we got over here on the YouTube side of things. Nordez, as usual, kicking it off. And there was one. Oh, it was Ricky. That's who it was. I remember now. It was Ricky. Even gave 5 gifted memberships before the show even went live. So I remember you, Ricky. I remembered it now. So thank you, Nordez, for kicking it off with the 5 gifted memberships as well. I really appreciate that. Goes a long, long way. We're on our way to 1,000 memberships here at Blunt Politics, which would really go a long way in helping us survive and thrive in this environment. Again, we're on our way to 13,000 subscribers on our push to get to 15 on our journey to 20 and above and beyond. So it's only with your help and your kind contributions of $1 or whatever you guys can help with and contribute with that helps keep this show running. So thank you, Nordez. Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, Liz, for the 5 gifted. I really, really appreciate that as well. Continues to go a long way in helping us. Cheyenne, thank you so much. And hello to you as well. Thank you so much for being here for 4 months. I really appreciate that. Hope you're finding a good, comfy space over there in the chat. Hope you enjoy the shows that we have, and thank you for coming back when you have the opportunity to do so. I appreciate you, Angela, as well. Happy Sunday to you, and thank you for your 13 months of loyalty and friendship. I really do appreciate that. Goes a long, long way in helping this channel. Angela also gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you really very much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate that. And thank you, Patrick, for the 5 gifted. Who else we got in there? I really appreciate that, Patrick. I mean, every show going a long way, gifting memberships. Please make sure we're reaching out to these people that are gifting memberships in the chat and saying thank you. These are people coming out of pocket to make sure that everybody can be as involved as humanly possible with this channel. So thank you so much. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate you so much. Best show on YouTube. Love you, Lobsters. Thank you so much. We have the best mods on YouTube. That is for damn sure. I don't know about the host of the show. Sometimes he just doesn't get things right. Thank you so much, AI Jesus. I appreciate you, and I am on the exact same page. The exact same page as is the entirety of the chat. Thank you, Bobby Slacks. Let's fucking go, Slacks. Fucking Slacks. What a G. What a G. He's a gangster. I appreciate you, buddy. Heroium Slava to you. I will pass on all the hellos. And thank you so much for your kind contributions to the channel. As always, I appreciate you. Hope you're having a wonderful day, man. Rock on. Let's see here. Eileen, thank you so much. Grateful to be hanging out with Bri and the Lobsters. Oh, thank you, Eileen. So very nice to have you here. I appreciate your kind words, your generous contributions to the channel. It really, I know it sounds like a broken record when I say it, but I cannot tell you how important it is that you guys are as supportive and as generous as you guys are. It is literally how I keep the food on the table, how I keep the food in my tummy. So I appreciate it, and I can't tell you how important it is that you guys, remain, as helpful and as supportive as you are. So thank you so much, Eileen, and everybody else. That goes for Robin as well. Don't let up on this. There's a groundswell from Dems who don't want candidates talking about AIPAC. Epstein money trail shows Israeli effort to prevent two-state solution during Clinton. Follow Senator Wyden as I do. Thank you so much, Robin, for your contributions for the news. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you, Deanne, as well. Selfish side note, 54 tomorrow. Let's fucking go, Virgos. Well, happy birthday again, Deanne. I hope you have a wonderful, fabulous, awesome, spectacular, fantastic day tomorrow, as well as the rest of the days from there on. So thank you, Deanne, for spending your time with us. I really do appreciate it. That goes for Bridget as well. What's up, Boston, Brian, and Peeps? Thank you so much for the 4 months of you being here as a member. I really appreciate that. What's you got? All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see who's next on the list. Robin, thank you again. If you guys want primo info from good two journos who covered dark money with Epstein, catch Greg Olaire and LB on 5-8 Pod from last Friday night. I'll check that out, Robin. I appreciate that. Thank you for the information, and thank you for the contribution. I really appreciate that. Allie, you are 100% correct, Boston. Corp money is influence. That was just my 2 cents. Again, if we're talking about the Democratic thing, and I have no problems. Again, I don't want to seem like I'm bashing on these on the people involved, but I love the work that Brian Tyler Cohen does. I think he's great, and if he's putting together something that's trying to actually help smaller independent creators build their platforms, then I'm all for it. Or if any PAC or whatever, if any corporation or if any fucking group, whatever it is, wants to transparently support and fund or whatever, help build up communities of independent creators they see as truth tellers, then I have no problem with that, as long as it can be released, as long as it can be talked about, as long as you know where the money's coming from, right? But when you get into this, can't talk about it, haven't talked about it, You know, when you look at some of the people involved, I have a hard time believing they need any help whatsoever building up their platform. So it's a little, you know, kind of a little couple fishy areas. That's all. So I just kind of wanted to throw my 2 cents in on that. But thank you, Allie. I appreciate you. Thank you, Robin. Story may be an effort to discredit. Well, it's very possible. It's very possible. But again, as far as, again, Pac-Man's response video didn't seem like he was really denying much of it, more kind of talking about how we need to combat, you know, the right-wing media echo chamber in the atmosphere, which I agree we do. But I don't want to do that while compromising our ability to get across our arguments of getting money out of politics and also having money we don't know where it's coming from, funding creators that you don't know are being funded in the background while, you know, you might be donating. What if it was me? What if I was getting $8,000 behind the scenes every month, right, that I didn't tell you guys about, and you guys are donating your fucking hard-earned money. Robin's dropping in $2 where she can. You know, people are dropping in $5 and $10 and $20 where you can, the hard-earned money that you fucking worked for, while I'm getting $8,000, $100,000 every year behind the scenes, not telling you guys and trying to collect and telling you that I'm independently run and I'm independent media. Just seems shady to me. Just seems pretty shitty that I would be doing that. Especially if I have 1 million plus subscribers already, and the money that I'm making is already well above and beyond anything that I would my lifestyle would require. You know what I mean? So hopefully that makes sense. And again, whatever the corrections are, whatever the actual contract says, could be something totally different. But regardless, those are my feelings on those situations. I would want 100% control. I need to know where the money's coming from. I need to be able to fucking divulge the certain information to people, and I don't want anything hanging over my head. You know what I mean? It's just a couple things of that. That's all. But thank you, Robin. I appreciate it very, very much. Ricky as well. For the $5 contributions, all war criminals lie. Thank you very much. And what kind of guy would I be if I was taking $5 and $2 contributions and $7 contributions from you fantastic motherfuckers while making a shitload in the background, which I assure you I am not. But thank you, Wes, for the Ray Bork. Thank you, Moms, for popping in. I really appreciate you. Thank you, JD, for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Steven. I really, really appreciate you for being here. 9 months is huge. JD for the 5 gifted, as always. Moms Russo for always being here. Chewy just for being a fantabulous fucking guy. Unfortunately not. He did pop up once again, Chewy. So thank you for being here. 17 months, man. Let's fucking go. Can't thank you enough. Marsha, that goes for you as well. Chewy again, gifting 10 memberships. Let's go, Chewy. I appreciate you, brother. Let's fucking go, man. Let's go. Thank you so much. That goes for Andrea as well. Thank you, Andrea. Thanks, Brian. Love to you, Mel, Logan, all the lobsters in the chat. Stay safe. Stay strong, everyone. Thank you so much for your kind and generous contributions, Andrea. That's huge. Goes a long way in helping this chat. Goes a long way in helping this community. And I can't thank you enough. That same thing with JD. Let's fucking go. You guys are amazing. Extra doc money profanity bonus. I appreciate that, JD. I appreciate that, brother. I really do. And then to round it out, we got Brenda here to thank for her 10 months of loyalty and contributions to Blunt Politics, to this community. So thank you, Brenda. And I will be there right beside you in thanking the mods and the rest of the chat room for being just fantastic and so generous and so supportive. It really, really, really is showing. It really goes a long way in helping me get back on day after day and making sure this show continues to be a force in this space. So I appreciate it. Again, I apologize about the whole mix-up about today. And Chris, I will take a look at to see if maybe he's emailed something happened, or if I mixed something up. I will do my best to try to get him back on the show for you guys. Oh, thank you, Jimbo, helping to keep Brian from selling himself on the streets of California. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But I will see you guys Tuesday for the Tuesday show. We might have something coming out Monday as well. Not 100% sure. I'll wait to confirm before I reveal anything. But we might have a video or an interview coming out Monday before our next show on Tuesday. So keep your eye out for that. Hit that bell, the notification bell, so you know when we are live. And yeah, just make sure you're taking care of yourself. I appreciate you. Stay proud, stay loud, stay aggressive. Find your nearest protest, find your nearest rally. But keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you're staying safe out there. Keep kicking ass. Until next time, I'm Boston Brian. I will see you Tuesday for the Tuesday show. That's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. On the Pacific Coast here. And thank you so much for everything you do. Really, keep fighting, keep winning. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. Keep kicking ass, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. All right? I appreciate you. Take it easy, guys. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you, brother. And if Bicycle Mike is listening, I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're resting up. I hope you're, nice and comfortable back at home, brother. We're thinking about you, Bicycle Mike.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was, the Battle of Gettysburg. What an unbelievable, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch. Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! They're too bright. Turn them off.
Thank you, Twitch. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, everybody on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. Please, if you can share the show, please subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. It's free. I promise it's free. It doesn't cost you a dime.
Tell the director to call the White House. Do your fucking job!
You know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
I said crud. You fall into some crud or something?
Yes, of course, hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see. A revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. So welcome to the revolution.
Fucking Nazis.